A habit is not just something you do often. It is a small loop that teaches the brain to save effort. Once the loop is learned, the action can begin before you have fully decided to do it. That is why someone may reach for a phone, snack, cigarette, or shortcut almost automatically and only notice afterward. A habit loop has three basic parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue tells the brain that a familiar pattern can begin. The routine is the behavior itself. The reward is the benefit the brain learns to expect. Over time, the cue starts creating a craving because the brain remembers the reward before it arrives. Cues can be obvious, like an alarm clock or the smell of coffee. They can also be subtle, like boredom, stress, a certain chair, a time of day, or seeing an app icon. A person who always checks messages after sitting on the sofa may not be reacting to the phone first. They may be reacting to the sofa. The routine is the visible part, so it gets most of the attention. But the behavior is often only the middle of the loop. Nail biting, scrolling, exercising, studying, overeating, or cleaning all sit inside a larger pattern. To change a habit, it helps to understand what started the routine and what reward keeps it alive. Rewards are not always pleasures in the obvious sense. A reward can be relief from anxiety, a feeling of control, a hit of novelty, a break from boredom, or social approval. Someone may not enjoy scrolling for an hour, but the first few seconds offer escape from a task that feels dull or demanding. Consider phone checking. The cue might be a moment of silence after finishing a work email. The routine is unlocking the phone and opening a social app. The reward is a quick dose of novelty and connection. If that loop repeats often, silence itself starts to feel like an invitation to check. A positive habit works the same way. A person places running shoes beside the bed. Seeing them in the morning becomes the cue. The routine is a short walk or run. The reward might be energy, pride, or a calmer mood. When the reward is felt repeatedly, the shoes stop being clutter and become a trigger. The craving is what makes habits feel sticky. The brain does not merely remember the action, it starts predicting the reward. A coffee drinker may crave coffee before tasting it. A shopper may feel excitement before buying anything. That anticipation can be stronger than the reward itself, which is why habits can continue even when the payoff is small. Friction changes habits because habits prefer easy paths. If cookies are on the desk, eating them requires almost no effort. If they are in a closed cupboard or not in the house, the loop faces a barrier. Good habit design often means making desired actions easier and unwanted actions slightly harder. Willpower is helpful, but it is a weak long-term strategy if the environment keeps triggering the same loop. Someone trying not to check their phone while studying may fail if the phone is face up beside the book. Moving it to another room changes the cue and the friction, which reduces the number of battles willpower must fight. Breaking a habit works better when the reward is replaced, not simply removed. If stress triggers snacking because the real reward is comfort, replacing the snack with water may not satisfy the loop. A short walk, a call, or breathing outside might work better because it offers a form of relief rather than only denial. Tracking helps reveal patterns that memory misses. A person can write down when the habit happens, where they are, what they feel, who is nearby, and what happens afterward. After a few days, the cue often becomes visible. The habit that felt random may be tied to a predictable time, emotion, or setting. Small changes are powerful because habit loops do not need dramatic promises. A person who wants to read more can place a book on the pillow and read 2 pages at night. The tiny routine matters because it teaches the loop. Once the cue and reward become familiar, the routine can grow naturally. Identity strengthens habits when the behavior starts to mean something. Someone who says, "I am the kind of person who takes a walk after lunch," has a different relationship to the routine than someone who says, "I should exercise more." Identity does not replace action, but repeated action slowly gives identity evidence. Understanding habit loops should reduce shame, not create excuses. A habit is learned behavior reinforced by reward. That means it can be redesigned, but it also means the person is not simply weak for struggling. The brain is doing what it learned to do. Repeat actions that once solved something. A common mistake is attacking only the routine. Someone deletes an app, throws away snacks, or promises to stop procrastinating, but leaves the cue and reward untouched. The old loop then finds a new route. Real change asks, what started this, and what was I getting from it? To build a habit, choose a clear cue, make the routine small, and make the reward immediate. After brushing my teeth, I will stretch for 2 minutes, works better than, I will become healthier. The brain learns from repeated, specific loops, not from vague intentions that depend on motivation appearing every day. To break a habit, interrupt the cue, change the environment, and offer a replacement reward. If late-night scrolling begins in bed, charge the phone outside the bedroom. If afternoon sweets follow stress, plan a different stress break before the craving arrives. The best change happens before the routine begins. Habit loops explain why behavior can feel automatic without being mysterious. The brain notices a cue, expects a reward, and moves toward a routine that has worked before. Once you see the loop, you can stop treating the habit as a character flaw and start redesigning the conditions around it. The cue can be external or internal. A phone notification is external. Boredom, loneliness, stress, or tiredness is internal. Many people try to change the routine without noticing the cue. That is like trying to stop a doorbell from ringing by standing far away from the door. Rewards are not always obvious. Someone may say they snack at night because they want food, but the real reward might be a break, comfort, or a feeling that the day finally belongs to them. If the replacement habit does not provide a similar reward, the old loop often returns. Environment design matters because willpower is inconsistent. If the phone is beside the bed, the scrolling loop begins before thought has time to catch up. If walking shoes are by the door, exercise needs less negotiation. Small changes in friction can decide which routine wins. Habit change usually works better as a substitution than a deletion. The brain likes familiar loops, so the goal is often to keep the cue and reward while changing the routine. Stress might still need relief, but the routine can shift from impulse shopping to a short walk, a call, or writing down the feeling. A habit is easier to change when you stop asking only, how do I stop? And start asking, what cue starts this? What reward keeps it alive? And what routine could serve me better? That question turns habit change from a battle of self-control into a practical design problem.